After making that video about the Simpsons Dracula, I was wondering if Family Guy had their own version of the character, and it turns out that he's never shown up on that series as a canonical character or even in a cutaway. Well, depending on if you count the TV shows and movies that the Griffins watch as cutaways, as the Count finally shows up in the season 10 episode Living on a Prayer, where the family are watching Dracula in San Francisco. The show uses this brief segment as an opportunity to make fun of gay people for having AIDS, sort of like that Saturday Night Live sketch with James Woods.
No, he would sleep with anything, male or female. Didn't matter.
I see. Good evening.
Family Guy's Dracula uses a fairly basic Lugosi design, and Seth MacFarlane doesn't affect his voice at all for the performance, speaking a single line of dialogue.
Well, that's why we have the lab.
I don't know if the writers on Family Guy or Saturday Night Live were aware that this is hardly a subversion of the character. You don't need to do that much deep analysis to figure that Bram Stoker was inspired in large part by fast-spreading, high-mortality Victorian-era illnesses like tuberculosis.
I'll suck you dry.
To tie the character to HIV and AIDS in the modern day is so appropriate it's almost on the nose, and to suggest that Dracula, a walking patient zero, is actually afraid of these newer diseases is probably more clever than the writers realized. This wasn't the first time Seth MacFarlane depicted Dracula, though. You remember cartoon Seth MacFarlane's Cartoon Cavalry of... You remember that YouTube show Seth MacFarlane did that was just cutaways? When it was released on DVD, they included some bonus skits, including one about Dracula. The show uses this brief segment as an opportunity to make fun of Magic Johnson for having AIDS, sort of like that Saturday Night Live sketch with James Woods.
No, he would sleep with anything, male or female.
The cartoon cavalcade of comics Dracula uses almost the same character design, save for some thicker eyebrows, but this time Seth MacFarlane actually does the voice.
You'll have little appetite for mortal food.
According to the Wikipedia page, because that's about as much research as I'm willing to do on Seth MacFarlane's YouTube channel, he has lamented that he wasn't able to give this series his undivided attention, and he feels that it suffers for his lack of involvement. I guess that tells you something about Family Guy after the first 9 seasons, because he did a whole Dracula voice for these YouTube cartoons, but couldn't be bothered on Family Guy.